I'm going to call this part 2 because I'm still sitting in traffic. I live in the middle of nowhere where you're not meant to have this sort of problem. This is what I call a serious problem. I have no idea what's causing it. I guess I will find out if I travel in the right direction enough. But again, no amount of complaining about it is going to fix it. And this time I've got a quarter of a tank of gas, so that's better than nothing. What I wanted to talk to you a bit about, though, was that some of you will know that I had other and different issue with my car a couple of months ago, and I'm sure that some of you go, gosh, you know, you're having a lot of problems with your car, Sal, and I really don't. One of the things that I always look at is how much does my car cost me a year? And I would think in terms of repairs, it probably costs me a couple of $1,000 a year. And that's replacing things. You know what I mean? That's because something has worn out, literally, and it needs replacing. Well, I'm not talking about the cost of insurance or putting gas in it or anything else, but just on things like repair. And so I could go and get a new car that wouldn't tow my trailer, and it would cost me twice that, probably, this day and age, to be sitting on leather seats with warming seats and everything else. It would probably cost me twice as much. And if you think about it, I systematically am replacing various parts of my car. If I bought a second-hand car, a new-to-me car, I'd have to be doing the same thing eventually anyway. So to me, I've never seen looking after a car as a throwing good money after bad. I don't see it that way. I see it as the more things I replace, the less things there are to replace, and it will probably last me for as long as I need a car, which at my age is probably, you know, another 10 years. But it's amazing how so many people will go, oh gosh, well, why don't you get a new car? Well, you know, think about that. Think about how much a new car costs you, or a new to you car will cost you. And sometimes the car you've got is the better bet. I want to say that I could not get the luxury that I've got in this car again within my budget, and I rather like that. And although it's a V8 gas guzzler, as some people say, it does pull my trailer better than anything I've ever known, and I intend to do that again next year. But even with that, the amount that I drive, I probably spend far less in gas than most people. I probably don't spend, now that I'm retired, I don't spend $80 a month on gas, probably 40. So sometimes what looks like an expensive deal, like, you know, getting the car fixed, isn't nearly as expensive as you think it is when you actually do the math on it. That would be also true of various other things. You know, we live in a society that wants you to replace everything every 3 years. It's weird. If you've got a printer, it's actually got a mechanism in it that will have it fail after so many years. Did you know that? So many copies, it will actually fail. Not because it's run out, it's because it's actually got a program in it that does that. How is that humanly fair? I don't know. So things today are not built to last, they're built not to last. Now that brings up something I remember about the original light bulb. Do you know that there's a light bulb somewhere that is still burning, and it was one of the original ones, if not the original one that they made, and it's still burning? They haven't had to replace it. In fact, I think it was Philips or Osram or one of the major lighting companies very early on realized that these things were way too good. You'd only ever have to sell them one person one. Therefore, they made them so they would fail. They made light bulbs fail because they wanted more business. How many of you are going, Really? Yeah. And I can remember once being in a marketing meeting where our client wanted to increase sales by about 20% per year. And it was on a very well-known brand that people would buy again anyway. You know what I mean? It was a good brand. And once you buy that brand, you'll always buy it. I won't bother to say which one it was. But it was a cleaning type product. It was possible to do all sorts of very intelligent things, to promote it so that you could get 20% more business. But it's also quite expensive. And you know what the recommendation was to the client? It was one of those scouring things, those scouring powders. Make the holes 20% bigger. Think about that. Make the holes 20% bigger. Sometimes the simplest answers are the best ones. This is DearMamaSal. Bye-bye.